Hey guys, welcome back to another video tutorial from the Education App Guru. Today we're going to continue our series about how to use Keynote on your iPad by looking at how to import existing PowerPoint presentations into the Keynote app. Now I know a lot of you guys probably already have old PowerPoint presentations that you've already made, and now you want to get them onto your iPad so that you can present them during class. So you're not actually going to do this from within the Keynote app. I have the Keynote app open here, and if I tap on the plus sign in the very top left-hand corner, not the white Create Presentation, but the tiny little one, I get three options here that says Create Presentation, Copy from iTunes, and Copy from WebDAV. You're probably not going to use either of these options. Copy from iTunes is very cumbersome to use, and Copy from WebDAV is very technical. It's for computer type people. I don't even use it. It's too technical for me. So you're actually going to get these presentations into Keynote from an outside source. And I'm going to show you three ways really quick that you can do that. The first way would be to email a presentation to yourself. I would only recommend this first method if you just have one or two quick little presentations that you want to get to yourself. If you have a lot to move over, this is not going to be ideal. So I have an email that I've sent to myself here, and it's got two PowerPoint presentation files. So you can see I can tap to actually download it. It's just showing me the attachments right now. It hasn't downloaded it onto my iPad because it doesn't want to take up space on your iPad if you don't want it. So these are PowerPoint files. They actually come with the biology curriculum that I use from Bob Jones University. Up in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see a little box with an upward arrow. That's the share button. All throughout the operating system on your iPad, when you see that little button, it means share it. And in this case, we're going to be able to share it with another app on our iPad, like Keynote. So when I tap on that button, I can see the third option here says Open in Keynote. I'm going to tap on that, and it takes me back over to the Keynote app, and it's going to copy it over into this Keynote app. So it's not going to live in my email anymore. It's going to live inside the app now. Any changes that I make to the PowerPoint from this point on are only going to show up when I access it from the Keynote app. If I go back to my email later on my iPad or on a different computer, I'm not going to see those changes. When you're importing a PowerPoint presentation or a Keynote presentation that you've made on your Mac, there's occasionally going to be some parts of the presentation that don't import well, and they're going to give you these warnings. For instance, some of the builds have been changed. Maybe a font is missing, so they've changed it to a font that matches it pretty closely. So we get those little warnings, and I'm just going to tap on Done. The most common warning that I get when I'm importing presentations is that a font has been changed, which is usually not too big of a deal. You just want to go through your presentation and make sure that things look like they're supposed to look. I can think of a couple situations where the font that they changed it to was maybe slightly bigger and it didn't all fit in the little box, so some of the text was getting cut off. So you might want to take a look at those things before you present your presentation in class. So that was importing a PowerPoint presentation from your email. You can also import presentations from a file sharing app like Dropbox. So I'm going to show you my Dropbox here, and I have a biology folder, and I have some PowerPoint presentations in a folder. When you tap on a file in Dropbox, it gives you a little preview of the file. But again, I'm going to want to get it over into Keynote. So I'm going to tap on one of these PowerPoint presentations. And I don't even need to wait for the preview. You can see up along the top, not quite in the corner, but toward the right side, we have that same share button that we saw before, the little box with the upward arrow. I'm going to tap on that, and I see a similar list to what I saw before, slightly different though. Before, we saw the Keynote icon right there in the second line. Here, I don't see the Keynote icon. I need to look a little bit farther. So if you look on the bottom of this little dialog box that is opened up, we see a few options: copy link, print, and the third one's the one that we're going for. It says Open In, and it has a little symbol. That's the app symbol that Apple uses. So it means that we want to open it in another app that's on our iPad. So if I tap on that, now I get a list of apps that are on my iPad that are capable of opening the type of file that I just selected. So I'm going to tap on Open in Keynote, and I see the same sort of process that I saw before. It's going to import the presentation, which means it's copying it over into the Keynote app. Any changes that I make to this presentation from this point on will only show up when I open it, when I am looking at it in the Keynote app. I'm not going to see those changes if I open it back up, the file back up in Dropbox. So again, we have some warnings. We'll just tap on Done. And there we have importing a presentation from Dropbox. The third method I have for you involves starting from your computer, which technically with the email and Dropbox methods you also started with your computer, but here we're going to do a little bit more of the work right on our computer screen. So this method involves accessing your Keynote documents from a browser, from a web browser on your computer. The web browser that they recommend to use is either Chrome, which is from Google, or Safari, which is from Apple. If you're on a Windows computer, I suggest using Chrome. I'm on a Macintosh and I also normally use Chrome over Safari. I'll put a link in the description of where you can download the Chrome browser. So once you've opened up Chrome, we're going to type in www.icloud.com, and it's going to take you to the iCloud website. It's going to prompt you to sign into the website. I've signed in the last couple weeks and asked it to remember me, so I'm already signed in. You're going to sign in with your email address and the password that you would use to download apps from the App Store on your iPad. That's your iCloud username and password. So you can see here I have my Keynote app along the bottom. This is going to open up an interface to, it's going to look similar to the interface that's on my iPad for Keynote. It's got this little beta up in the corner. That means it's in a testing mode right now. So they're trying to add features to it. They want us to use it as much as we can, but not all the features are going to work perfectly, and not all features have been added yet. It's still in the testing or development phase. So I haven't opened up this screen in a while, so it's giving me little coaching tips as to where everything is. And you can see this bottom coaching tip says to upload and edit Keynote or Microsoft PowerPoints, drag them in from your desktop. You can also drag them in from a file folder. So I'm going to open up my file folder for the Mac called Finder. On Windows, this would be your Windows Explorer folder where you can get to your documents and pictures and different files that are on your computer. Find the folder that has the PowerPoint files that you would like to add, and you're going to drag and drop them onto this screen. That little yellow rectangle that came up around the screen, when I was hovering over it, told me that it was going to copy it if I let it go. So I let it go, and it's copied it over into the iCloud, and it'll show up in my Keynote app the next time I open up the app. So let's switch over to that now. So I'm back on my iPad now. I'm going to open up the Keynote app and see if that presentation is here. Once you open the Keynote app, it's going to communicate with the iCloud server and see if there's any changes to the presentations that need to be updated. That means it'll look on the server and see if there's any new or edited files that it needs to download. It'll also look on your iPad and see if there's any new or edited files that it needs to upload over to the server. You can see it's looked onto the server, saw that I had a new biology PowerPoint that had been added from iCloud.com, and it's downloaded it into my Keynote app here. Now, with this last method, any of the changes that I make to this PowerPoint presentation in this Keynote app are going to show up on iCloud.com. So if I go back to my computer later, open up iCloud.com and go to Keynote and open up the PowerPoint from my computer, it'll look just like the last time that I had opened it or edited it from my iPad. So the changes are going to sync better than they would if you were using something like Dropbox. Alright, that's going to do it for this video about importing existing PowerPoint presentations into the Keynote app. You can find more videos in this series and also other video tutorials and app reviews on my website, edappguru.com. Thanks for watching.